Boston. Brace yourself, the ultimate SEO rendezvous is coming your way. Introducing the 12th annual SEO Rockstars events, hosted by the phenomenal Dory Friend. It's the hotspot where SEO masterminds like Clint Butler, Tech Abitis ignited their journeys. I've attended SEO Rockstars for the past 5 years, and it's been mind-blowing. This year, it's all about AI reshaping SEO. Dive deep or risk being left behind. Missed the early bird special? No worries. Use the code SEOLOVE for special discount. Enjoy 3 days of immersive knowledge bombs, intimate masterminds, and networking with the creme de la creme of the SEO world. Lavish lunches, insightful evenings, and transformative takeaways. SEO Rockstars 2023 from October 27th to the 29th. It's not just an event, it's your gateway to SEO mastery. Secure your place. Visit SEORockstars.us today. Hey, what's up everyone? Happy Monday. Welcome to a rescheduled episode of the SEO Video Show. Glad to have you on. I see a few of you out there today. Today's topics, we'll be talking about starting your own community and events with the founder of Women in Tech SEO, Areej AbuAli. Be sure to say hi in the live chat and let me know where you're watching from this Monday morning. Stefan, my man, Monday, Friday, Saturday, whatever day I go on, you're on. Thank you, brother, for all the support. Luther says hi. How many of you attending an SEO conference? There's so many coming up. There's the SEO Rockstars that's happening this month, which is awesome. Starships, Bradley, my man. So there's SEO Rockstars happening in Boston in a couple weeks. There's actually Brighton SEO here in the US, in San Diego. I'll be there. Would love to meet a bunch of you out there. And then another one I'll be attending will be SEO Spring Training in April 2024. I'll have more info on that later on. But I hope to see a bunch of you at Brighton SEO here in the US in San Diego. That'll be awesome. If you're just tuning in, our special topic of today is starting your own SEO community and events with the founder of Women in Tech SEO, Areej AbuAli. Don't be shy. I see a few of you out there. Nicole, good day, SEOs from Cantana, Sicily. Wow, welcome, Nicole. Oh, Areej, there you are. I was about to reply to your email. Thank you.
Oh, it's okay. I found it like dug in, so it's all good.
Love it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is
I can switch my. You know how the camera, like the setting is like mirroring instead of.
Oh, I don't know. I think that would have to be within your own program because you actually look fine right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's just the. It switched the. Yeah.
It might be on your computer, but when we go live, it should be fine.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
We'll see. All right, everyone, we have Areej in the back. We got about 5 more minutes to go. If you're just tuning in, we have Areej AbuAli coming in, talking about Women in Tech SEO, starting your own SEO community and events. Welcome to this Monday morning. Don't be shy. I see a bunch of you out there. Freddie says, hi, Dre and Areej. So Areej, I'm gonna go over a few more videos, like in the very beginning, about 4 videos, and about 8 minutes after, that's when I'll actually introduce you into the show.
Cool.
So,
Sounds good.
yeah,
Am I like backstage? Am I on stage?
Right now you're in the backstage, so no one can see you, but they can hear you.
Cool.
Yeah, so they can hear what you're saying. If anyone has any questions, if you got any questions, guys, get them ready. Oh yeah. So it's your day's just ending right now, right? Is your day just ending? Over there, where you're at, right? Wait, can you hear me? Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Okay. I was making sure you could hear me because I was wondering what time.
Fiddling around with my settings.
Okay. Don't be shy, guys. There's even a bunch of you out there. Kenneth says, good morning. We got about 3.5 more minutes to go. Be sure to get your shouts out. We'll be talking about some great stuff today. So awesome having Areej on the show. Hello, Nubia. Women in Tech SEO, Natalie Pham, hello. And you're bringing them out. Everyone's up early right now. It's 8 a.m. right here. It's a lot earlier from my usual crowd.
So early.
Yeah.
It's like 4 p.m. over here.
So your day's coming slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Ernesto Nixon, yo. What's up, my man Nixon? Ernesto. All right. Are you going to Brighton SEO here in San Diego?
No, unfortunately not. I always go to the UK ones, but San Diego is too far.
Oh man, yeah. I was hoping to see a bunch of all my European SEO buddies to come out.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, they do it twice here in the UK, so we're pretty spoiled.
Yeah.
Yeah, San Diego is like an 11-hour flight.
It's about an hour for me.
Oh, wow. Yeah. But it's exciting that they're going over there. It's going to be really good.
Yeah. So I'm going to go there, do an SEO on the street episode, kind of do some filming,
Nice.
and yeah, going to do some impromptu interviews out there, hopefully.
Exciting.
Love it. Fletcher Compton. Happy Monday, everyone. All right, guys, we got about 1 more minute to go. I'm going to start going ahead and slowing things down here and getting things ready. So, Areej, I'm going to introduce you in about 8 minutes and just and I'm going to put you on mute for now.
Perfect.
All right.
get it started, no delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO video show where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul Andre De Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released in the past week into about 1-minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest this week is the founder of Carolina, Areej AbuAli. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. I see Fletcher, Ernesto, Natalie, Nubia, Kenneth, Nicole, Bradley, Stefan, Luther, Freddie. Thank you so much for coming this early Monday morning. Please don't forget to support the channel. Now let's get on with the show.
Hey Dre, why do SEOs love the farmer's market? Lots of organic content.
It looks like the October core and spam update is still running, so if you want to track the status, the link is in the description below. What to do after your press release is out. Rhode shares his tips. Let's check one out.
PDF sites. So you could go search for hosting PDFs or uploading PDFs on sites. There's probably, there's hundreds of these things out there. Good way. This is one SlideServe is a good way. You can take the PDF report from us. You can download it either as an Excel file or as a PDF, or just look at it via the web. But you can download that PDF report, all active live links in the PDF report, upload it into any of these slide PDF share sites. And most of those, well, I shouldn't say most because I haven't looked at all of them. A good number of them will provide your PDF with active do follow links. So it's another way to boost all of those links in one massive way of your press release report. So PDF sites, awesome.
I believe it's an industry standard for all press release distribution services to give you a PDF report. So be sure to put that to good use. Remember, a PDF is a file type that is indexable by Google. Brian Dean shares his best way to get backlinks. Let's check this one out.
And the best way to get backlinks right now is definitely reverse outreach. Instead of sending thousands of outreach emails to bloggers and journalists, you're figuring out what they're searching for when they're doing research and getting in front of them there. That way you're flipping the script and really you're getting bloggers and journalists to come to you. So all you need to do is figure out what keywords are journalists and bloggers in your niche searching for, and what stats are they looking for and not able to easily find, and then fill that gap with your content.
An excellent strategy for this tactic is putting together a digital PR campaign, like using an exciting statistic and making it a news story. State governments publicly publish real-time stats, like the number of accidents within a month. I mean, you can use this data to make newsworthy content for an accident lawyer for a reverse outreach backlink strategy. How to establish your brand in the knowledge graph. Let's check this one out.
You also need to align the brand positioning, and this can't be some corporatized mash of this year's buzzwords or subjective claim that you're number one, or some fluffy marketing tagline that lacks substance. Summarize the brand in a way that humans will read as authentic and Google can confidently understand, so that it can extract the connection between your brand entity and your key topic. To do this, describe your brand with a semantic triple of subject, predicate, object. You can also think of this as writing the brand entity's relationship to the industry entity, and then add in the unique selling proposition, the one most persuasive reason why people should choose you. This gives you outcomes like brand is Seattle's family-friendly gym, or brand is a landing page builder for marketers, or brand is an easy-to-use accounting software. Then elaborate on the brand bio to address your target audience, core offerings, awards and membership, key people or partners, history, contact details, and where relevant, editorial or ethics policies, and there is your knowledge graph optimized About Us page copy.
I've always advocated for building a brand and establish your personal knowledge graph here on the show. I mean, here's also a video on how to set up your optimized author profile for your website.
You know, you can see on the bottom corner of my headshot, you can see there's a link to my LinkedIn profile. Google can now go to my LinkedIn profile and understand that I've been in SEO for over 20 years. And it's like, okay, this person is, this person is an authority in this space. And then also kind of looking through that, you can see the breadcrumbs like home, leadership, Pat Reinhardt. They understand who I am at Conductor. Then, okay, so now Pat is a 20-year vet in SEO, and he's also, a VP at Conductor. So he's a leader at SEO, focused, technology, and we know his career history. And then again, my name and title, clearly stated, but also the additional articles below me. Does he write anything else, right? I have probably 100 articles written on conductor.com and all over the internet. And what we're doing here is we're building that knowledge graph that Martha is talking about, is that now on this page, Google can understand who I am, what other articles I have written, and it can also see external external stuff that that I contributed to as well. So that is kind of like a real world example of how you can kind of set this up on your website. But then
Can I just call out, so the top of that was like linking things to disambiguate, right? So the linking to LinkedIn, yep. Or like the authors, like actually having a link back to the articles you've written, like that's part of that building knowledge graph, right? It's going beyond just like explaining what this page is, but then also explaining how it's related to the other things.
Someone who has a well-established entity is my guest today, which brings me to my favorite part of the show. Please ask questions and I will address them in the order that they are received. Before we get started, here's a word from our sponsor. Ever wondered how to get your brand noticed? I found the answer with Magic PR. Thanks to Magic PR, my brand now reaches over 300 plus premium news and media outlets. I've seen my news on AP, Bloomberg, Yahoo News, and many more. And it's not just about visibility. With Magic PR's unique SEO process, I've noticed incredible boost in traffic to my site and improved local and organic rankings. From crafting the perfect press release to building a powerful SEO campaign, Magic PR is always there for me. Want to experience the magic of PR? Try Magic PR just like I did. Watch your business reach new heights. Areej has been in digital marketing for over a decade. She has a BS in computer engineering and an MBA in IT. She's an international industry speaker and has spoken at SMX, Bright SEO, and MOSCON. She founded the Women in Tech SEO in 2019, growing to over 5,000 members worldwide. Please welcome the founder of Carolina, Areej AbuAli. Areej, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Love it, love it. I know it took me about almost 3 years to get you on here, but we finally got you on. I love it, love it. Everyone, let's give a round of applause. Thank you so much. I'm going to get right into it. This is the first question I ask all my SEO professionals that come on here in 1 minute or less. How does Areej get ranking on page 1 of Google?
Oh, wow. I mean, I focus a lot on the technical side of things. So I think, making sure that the foundation is there technically, like your website is technically robust, and then ensuring that you have helpful, relevant content that serves your audience really well. And then just making sure that your brand is being linked to from high authority. So yeah, have your tech content and links all in check.
Love that. First knowledge bomb of today. Okay, hold on. Let's rewind this real quick. Take us way back to a decade ago. How'd you first get into SEO?
Wow. Yeah, a decade ago. I did a degree in computer engineering, and then I just kind of stumbled on SEO in like one of my first internships. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think the first agency that hired me to do SEO they had a client in the Arab world, and I speak Arabic, like that's what I'm fluent in. Mm-hmm. And so they just wanted someone like purely from a language basis. And I kind of ended up just learning everything on the spot from there. So yeah.
Oh, love that. Love that. So speaking of learning on the spot, I mean, like, so how'd you actually learn it? Was it from books, people you followed? I mean, did you have a mentor?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was learning on the job, to be honest. Like, kind of figured, stuff out. Kind of, it was very cool, like being agency side, because you get to work with a lot of different industries and websites. And we were just talking about Brighton SEO, and that's probably one of the first conferences I started attending way back. I've probably attended a little bit over 10 of them by now. But it was great to have that almost at my doorstep, to be able to go and see a lot of awesome people talk about SEO and learn tons from them.
Love that. Love that. Okay, so before we get into today's topic, I want to kind of drive us through that journey of how you started speaking at like conferences and getting noticed yourself, and like, how can you kind of walk us through that?
Yeah, it maybe took me 5 years or so being in SEO and attending a whole bunch of conferences before I made the decision that I would love to pitch and put myself forward. And it was, I was attending Search Love in London, and they had community speakers who were there for the first time ever speaking. And that's what really, really inspired me to go and put a pitch together for Brighton SEO. And they gave me my first yes. And I spent several months kind of putting a talk together. And at the same time, I pitched MosCon for a community speaker slot as well. And I got a yes, which was amazing. So that was in 2019. And yeah, Brighton SEO and MosCon were the first two stages that I spoke in. And yeah, it's been awesome since.
Love that. Love that. So kind of like, let's get right into it then. How did your journey start into starting your own community? And like, what motivated you to start Women in Tech and SEO?
Yeah, so I love to talk about this a lot. I think, back in 2019, I must have already been in the industry for a while, but it was really difficult to kind of find a space where I belonged. I always worried about asking questions out loud on Twitter, for example, or in other groups where I was a little bit worried I might be judged for the questions I'm asked. And so I kind of thought, what would be amazing is if we have like a safe, judgment-free zone where we can just all ask each other questions. And I think being in technical SEO, it's very normal to see a lot of men on conference stages speaking about it. And but I knew there must be a lot of other tech SEOs out there who are also women. So I created a Facebook group, and I just put a shout out, and I said, oh, Women in Tech SEO, rejoice. We now have a group where we can kind of, it can feel safe, and we can ask each other as many SEO questions as we want to. And it's been a little bit over 4 years now. And yeah, that's kind of how it started.
Love that. Love that. Actually, I was trying to figure out where did it start, if it was a LinkedIn group, a Facebook group, but you just confirmed it. So it was a Facebook group at first, and then it's where it's at right now. So what can you kind of share some milestones of the growth of Women in Tech and SEO? Because it started Facebook, but it's much bigger than that now.
Yeah. It initially started as Facebook, and I think the first week we had like 100 members or so join, and then that first year we did a lot of local meetups in London. Okay. And then I started planning our first ever in-person conference, which would be like a full day conference, which we called Women in Tech SEO Festival. And we did that around International Women's Day in March 2020. And it was right before the pandemic. And it did so well. Like, I was so surprised. I think we sold out tickets in like a month, and there was a little bit over 200 of us who joined in person. It was a full day conference, all women speaker lineup and attendees, which was amazing. But in general, looking back 4.5 years ago to now, there's a little bit over 7,000 of us on both Facebook and Slack. We have been hosting our international festival now every year, which also expanded to Philadelphia this year. And next year, we're also going to be going to Berlin, which is amazing. So we do London, Berlin, and Philadelphia. And we host a really popular mentorship program where we match mentors and mentees together to kind of help and support one another. We've got a newsletter, a podcast, workshops. Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Wow. So hopefully we're going to have San Francisco on that list soon, maybe next year.
I know. We need a West Coast edition. Everyone's, when I did the Philly edition, like all the West Coasters were a bit upset. They were like, oh, what about us? You need to come to us.
What about us? Well, I mean, men's invited, right? I mean, where can we come to the conference?
everyone's like more than welcome to kind of help and support for sure.
Got it. So okay, so now you started this, and it's so successful. So how do you ensure that the community is like remains very supportive and like an educational space? Because I mean, it's just getting bigger and bigger. So what is that secret sauce?
Yeah, I think it's so important to define your, your values and your rules very early up front, and just make sure that you kind of model them, and anyone who's kind of helping or supporting also models that. So we've, our values are to be kind and safe and a judgment-free zone, and we've said that from the very beginning. And we also have rules in place where we kind of ensure like no one breaks them. And it's very rare actually that we kind of run into problems where we have to do some serious moderating or so forth. It's just important to kind of keep reminding folks and ensure that new people who are coming in are reminded of these values and rules, and make sure your most active members are also kind of modeling those as you go. So I think that definitely helps a lot.
Love that. So I mean, yeah, so we are here right now, like in present day. I mean, how has women in tech SEO actually impacted the representation and empowerment of women in the technical SEO field? I mean, this is something that you actually felt something that yourself was kind of like not there, so you created something. And so how do you feel where it's at now?
I'd love to think that it's definitely helped from an amplification standpoint. So a lot of our initiatives around our speakers hub, our founders hub, our newsletter, our podcast, the main purpose behind them is to put a spotlight and amplify a lot of these brilliant women and make it very, very easy for them to get speaking gigs or have their own agencies or consultancies, or as freelancers become hired. So I think definitely the amplification bit has helped. But then also, through our mentorship program, it's also supported a lot of, younger SEOs who are still kind of entering the SEO world and aren't too sure about whether the tech side is kind of a side of it. And so being able to be, being mentees to a lot of, much more experienced mentors really helps them from a career progression standpoint.
Love that. You talked about speaking, getting people to speak. So if someone wants to speak at your event, like how can they go about doing that?
Yeah, so we always have a really transparent way around it. So we have speaker pitches for all of our conferences, and we open those up really early, and we make sure that we share them across the group and across social. And we always encourage first-time speakers. And we've run training sessions before around, putting together a successful speaker pitch, or putting together your first talk, or public speaking, or things like that. So that's a lot of stuff that we run, because even though we're a community of technical SEO women, it's not just about talking about technical SEO, but a lot of other things that surround it. So yeah, hopefully that, I think for all of the upcoming 2024 events that we have, we always link to the speaker pitch form in our landing pages.
Love that. Speaking of pitches, I mean, I know this wasn't something I was going to ask, but since you brought it up, I'm curious if you can give 3 tips on how to give a successful pitch to speak. What would those 3 tips be? Because I'm very unsuccessful at getting myself pitches to speak at events. I would love to know.
Yeah, I think number 1 is ensure that you have a very, very specific topic. So the more you specify, the better, as opposed to going to something very broad or very generic. And then secondly, it's really important to kind of almost like put together the skeleton of your talk in your pitch. So you can go ahead and say, oh, I'm going to do a talk on XXX, and this is how I'm going to break it down. First, I'm going to cover this, then I'll cover this, then I'm going to wrap up by saying the following. So almost like having that bullet point skeleton of your pitch makes it very, very easy for an organizer to know what to expect in that talk. And then thirdly, I think something that always helps with a pitch is to almost wrap it up by saying, the one thing that the audience will take away is, so that's like the main learning, or like the main summary of the talk. So I always feel like those 3 things together really help putting together, a comprehensive, detailed pitch that's going to stand out compared to a lot of the other pitches that come through.
Excellent!
Love that. Okay, let's get into like building a community. All right, this is something where something that we want to talk about today: building community and and specific events. So we want to learn. The best way to learn, I feel, is like learning from someone's previous challenges. I mean, what were some of the initial challenges you faced when starting Women in Tech SEO community, and how did you actually overcome them?
Yeah, so I think one of the first things that come to mind is being able to balance, working on that community. I had a full-time job for the longest time ever while I was building Women in Tech SEO. And so it did take up a lot of like my evenings and my weekends to kind of work on it. So maybe something to think about or consider from the get-go is this something you want to do on your own, or is this potentially something that you want to start with, other folks or other people that other peers in the industry? Because it can feel very lonely, kind of like building something by yourself. So it might be helpful to, from the get-go, start it with others. And then I think, something else is around the concept of, how do you go about monetizing a community? Because that's something that can take up a lot of your time and energy, but also over time, you will realize that you might need resources or you need specific budget or so forth. So that's something that maybe took me a little bit over 2 years to figure out, because until this day, our community is completely free for all of our members to join. But the monetizing side purely comes from sponsors and partners. And it took me some time to think about what's the best way to model that, or how to put together, like a partners initiative or a sponsors initiative that actually makes sense and, is a win-win, like benefits both of us at the same time, without, but ensuring that you still keep the values and the rules of your community in place. So I think those are probably like two tricky things. I personally, thankfully, haven't had an issue when it came to finding new members to join or retaining these members. It's really important to kind of ensure that, you keep the group engaged with like lots of different initiatives and activities, and making sure that you're constantly getting feedback to know what's working and what's not working. But I know some other folks where some of the challenges they get from, building a community is always around, well, how do we keep that engagement alive, for example?
Love that. So when you mentioned like a work, so right now, do you have a team now, or are you still kind of solo and just getting some help here and there? Or do you
so this year I finally started working with a few folks who kind of help me, with bits and pieces. So I have a brilliant community manager called Megan who helps out a lot on like the Slack and the Facebook group, keeping things active and coming up with new initiatives and helping out with like weekly roundups. And I have someone brilliant called Cass who's helping me on the event side of things, so with our in-person festivals.
Love that. And when you talk about sponsorships, I mean, that's something that, does take a while to actually build, right? Because I mean, it said it took you 2 years. What were you think the key things that were able to kind of get the sponsorships? Because I mean, it's not that easy. I mean, yes, there's a community and you can say that, but I mean, like, why did it take you 2 years? Like, why could it have been like the first time you launched? So like, what was that thing that you feel that was able to get that sponsorship?
So I think initially when I started working with sponsors, I was only working with them on a project by project basis. So my thinking was always, I have this conference coming up, so I'll only get sponsors related to this conference. Or I have a mentorship program, so I only want a sponsor related to a mentorship program. And it took me some time to realize, actually, there can be such a thing as general community partners that we can have all year long. And that way, that will give me the budget I need to be able to hire help and support throughout the year. So it took me a little bit of time to kind of figure that out, but also to realize, well, what is it that I can offer them that would be, like a win-win, like something that they feel like they're seeing some ROI off the back. And I think what really helped is that I was very transparent. So when I launched our partners program, on the landing page on our website, I stated very clearly, this is how much it's going to cost, and this is what you're going to get in return. And so it wasn't the whole get in touch, to learn more about our packages, It was, this is transparent. Everyone gets the exact same thing. Everyone pays the same. So I think that's a big reason why the partners program succeeded really well. It's just that level of transparency was helpful.
Love that. So being able to be transparent and just like showing, hey, everyone gets the same thing. That's actually a great tip right there. Love that. Okay, so you talked about like moderation, like you have actually having help with moderation. And I mean, you actually mentioned there's some times where you had to actually step in a little bit. I mean, every here and there, because I mean, every community has some type of drama. So I'm curious, like, how do you ensure that you keep it positive, and like how do you mitigate the one that was having problems?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with our community rules, like they're always evolving and changing. You might not think about everything from the get-go, but
Mhm.
maybe certain situations might arise that make you realize actually this is a new community rule that we should consider or add as well, and like the
Mhm.
reasoning behind it. So there's a lot of learnings that can come off the back of something not necessarily going right.
Mhm.
But I'm very proactive as opposed to reactive. That's kind of, I feel like that's
Mm.
a sign of a really good community builder, is
Mhm.
to ensure that you're being proactive. If you kind of sense that a certain post, even if the post itself is not problematic, but potentially the replies that come off the back of the post might be
Mhm.
problematic, then you take an action right then, right there. And I've
Ah.
done that several times where I stepped in from the beginning. I saw a specific post being shared, and I just got in touch with the poster saying something along the lines of, I know, you're not breaking any rules, you don't mean any harm, but FYI, you might get a few comments that end up breaking the rules. So could we potentially rephrase this or reword it
Ah.
and I feel like that helps mitigate a lot of potential problems that might happen.
Oh, that's an excellent tip right there for community members. I think my comments sometimes just get deleted. And I'm like, hey, what
Yeah,
happened?
that's another way to get around it.
I love that. At least you're being considerate to the actual poster. So that's lovely, lovely. And the community is great to have you there. So I want to get into, you actually talked about, you started with meetups and this is like these live events, and this is something I actually kind of also want to kind of start doing with, and you kind of have some organizing some small events. I mean, so what were some of the key things you were doing to planning and executing like a successful little SEO events and meetups? I mean, let's start with the meetups first, and then to like the bigger ones. Because I'm curious how you got
Yeah.
meetups to the big ones.
Yeah, so with the meetups, they were, we did monthly evening meetups. We always
Okay.
had, 2 to 3 speakers. The whole purpose, again, was like amplifying brilliant women, encouraging them to get on the stage for the first time. And then, like networking and getting to meet each other. I think the first, 1 or 2 we had, it was about 20 or 30 people showed up. And then by the end of it, after running maybe 10 or 12 of them, we started having like a little bit over 100 show up to everyone, which was amazing.
Mhm.
And it was a chance for first time speakers to get on the stage, share a talk, and for all of us to kind of meet each other in person. But yeah, the bigger the community got, the more we realized it's difficult to keep running these small local meetups because we have such a global community as well. And so that's when we started the idea of putting together like big in-person conferences,
Mhm.
but then also hosting uh, online workshops that can help like serve the rest of the global community who might not be able to
Oh.
come to London, Berlin, Philadelphia in person.
Love that. And as an event organizer, when it comes to speakers, I would suspect some of them maybe would want to be compensated or anything like that. Like, so what's kind of like the thing that the way how things that's worked out between the speaker at a conference? I mean, do you like fly them out, or I'm curious like how that works.
Yeah, so again with this, like I'm really transparent, and I feel very proud of what we offer our speakers. So, and I mentioned that on the get-go in the speaker pitch.
Mhm.
So we pay all of our speakers a speaker fee, and we cover expenses, and we provide accommodation, and we provide training, and this is all stuff that I'm just very keen to kind of put a statement out there in the industry that this is kind of how you should treat your speakers, but also that all speakers should be treated equally. So all of our speakers get the exact same package, whether there's someone who might be speaking for the first time ever, or there's someone who have been speaking for like 10 years. And I think, again, just being transparent about it and putting it out loud. And when you share a pitch form, it shouldn't just be about, this is what I expect from you. It should also be about, and this is what you're going to get in return. So then it encourages and motivates more folks to kind of put their name out there.
Love that, man. That's the first time I've actually heard that. I was actually curious. Like, I was expecting something different. I'm like, oh, that's lovely, lovely, lovely. Love that. Okay, so guys, we're gonna get some more questions from the audience. Let me just get a few more questions into about events and meetups here, and then we'll get into some topics, some questions from the audience. So I'm curious, like, what do you, how do you decide like the themes or the topics for your events? I mean, obviously your technical SEO, is it going to always be technical SEO, or I mean, is there any other ways you decide what topics are discussed?
Yeah. So I split my agenda into 4 themes. So we have analyze, advance, innovate, empower. And so analyze is more like the analytical kind of talks. Advanced tend to be the technical SEO talks. Innovate is more, think things like, using code or using dashboards or automating things. And then Empower are more like the soft skill type of talks about, career progression or confidence or so on. We're always a one-track event, so it all goes back to back. We usually have about 10 speakers, and it just it has a nice flow where, there's something for everyone.
Love that. And when it comes to events and the success of events and meetups, I mean, how do you measure that? Because I know even in enterprises, in enterprise companies, when they throw events, they're throwing it at a loss, but they feel the branding is there and they they're able to recuperate. I mean, I feel that would be hard with all the work that you put in, if you work at a loss, right? I mean, and you said you have sponsors. So I'm curious, how do you measure the success of the events and what, makes you keep on doing it?
Yeah, so I mean, we make a profit off the back of our events. I think we're very, even though we keep our ticket prices very, very accessible and very low, we also give out a lot of scholarship tickets, and we don't work with a lot of sponsors. But we still kind of budget it in a way where we ensure that it's fairly low budget, but also we are able to pay off all of our suppliers and speakers and so forth. And I think a big part of why our events always succeed is purely because the basis of the events is off the back of a community. And so people really, really want to go and attend in person because they want to meet one another. And so I think that's always, this is what helps the most, because it's very different when you kind of attend a conference, of the sake of that it's a conference, whereas when you attend one where you are going for a gathering of community folks. So yeah, that I think that always helps. But I think in terms of what makes it better the next time around and what helps is I'm very adamant about collecting a lot of feedback. So feedback from attendees, feedback from speakers, feedback from sponsors, both quantitative and qualitative, kind of understanding what's working, what's not working, what can we do better the next time, just so you can take these learnings, reiterate, and make it better the next time around.
Love that. So let's go into something you just started recently, because you just became a full-time SEO consultant, right? And you started Crawlina, which is lovely, which is all about technical, and you do technical SEO, which brings us to our next topic of today. And we'll get to some of the questions here in the audience. But so I'm curious, I mean, when it comes to technical SEO, what are some of the common misconceptions you feel that's with technical SEO?
Yeah, I think, there's the number one common misconception is it might be something that's too, complex or complicated to get yourself into. Whereas it's, once you wrap your head around it, it's kind of you're being a detective and you're kind of getting under the hood of, why a website might not or might not be working. And it's your make or break, right? Because you might have the best content in the world and you might be a massive brand, but if your technical foundations aren't there, then your site is simply not going to perform. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I enjoy working on technical SEO a lot, because it does feel, very foundational. You need to have that right. You need to have that set in place before you can kind of add anything else on top of it.
Love that. And so what are kind of the first things you do? Let's say the top 3 things you do when you get a land for your first client when it comes to technical SEO.
I love to understand how a website is broken down into different templates.
Okay.
So I work with a lot of large websites, over, 10, 50 million pages, but it's very important to kind of step back and be understanding of, okay, this website is pretty much made of these main templates. You've got your homepage, you've got your listing pages, you've got your detail pages, you've got your blog posts. Every single website is very template based, and usually, there isn't a single website that will likely exceed more than 10 templates. Okay. So once you understand that template split, you're then able to go in and dive deep and understand if there are any issues with some of the templates, and then provide recommendations based on that, as opposed to feel very overwhelmed by, there's, over 10 million pages and all of these things are wrong with it.
Love that tip, guys. Okay, so this next question kind of ties into the questions that we're getting here in the audience. So I'm curious, how do you stay updated with a constantly evolving SEO landscape with all these Google updates?
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, they're happening all the time, right? I think I'm really lucky, like just even being part of Women in Tech SEO, like seeing a lot of like the questions and answers that are being posted. I feel like I'm learning every day, just kind of seeing what people are sharing and talking about. But then also, you've got Aleda's brilliant like weekly SEO FOMO newsletter is a really, really good one because it kind of shares like all the different resources and it has a section on top specifically on Google updates. So everything new that has kind of come out of Google, and then a lot of relevant resources and pieces that were written throughout the week. So that's sent every Sunday. And so it's nice to kind of read that first thing on a Monday. It helps me kind of get updated with everything that's going on.
Love that. Okay, let's take our first question here from the audience. And guys, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask them in the live chat. So Ali says, Salams, Areej, given the last Google round of Google updates, what are the top steps to help sites recover from the spam updates?
I know it's quite a handful of Google updates that came. I mean, we had a helpful update, we had a spam update, we had a core update. So quite a lot came through. And I think, sit back and try to analyze, what happened to the websites that were potentially, some websites might be impacted in a positive ways, other in a negative way, others might not have had any impact at all. So analyze that data to understand, compare it with a benchmark that you had beforehand to see what's happened. And off the back of that, like making an action plan based on what might need to be focused on next. It definitely feels like there was a large amount of impact purely based from specifically targeting a lot of like niche and affiliate websites, which seem to be targeted very heavily this time around with the helpful update. I think with a lot of these updates, make sure that you wait until it actually fully finishes rolling out. So some of them might take up to 2 or 3 weeks to finish rolling out before you can actually measure that data and see what's happening. But also just bearing in mind seasonality for some websites as well. We're entering, high season peak period for a lot of, especially like American websites or holiday websites in that last quarter. So bear in mind seasonality when you look at things like traffic and revenue and see what that looks like from a year-on-year basis as opposed to comparing things monthly.
Love that. Okay, we got another question here. What would be your first step what is the solution if suddenly a website is down from top ranking? If so, what would you
take a breather, right? Take a step back and try to understand. I think the best thing is to actually like manually take a look at the SERPs. So taking a look at your search engine ranking page for some of these keywords and understanding, who now, what's happened to the competitor landscape? Who has outranked you? What do their pages look like? What could be potentially the difference between some of those pages and your pages? Going through that manual investigation is always really helpful initially, just to kind of understand what might have happened. But then also from a technical standpoint, just, ensuring, has there been any changes lately? Is there anything that we're kind of outstanding on that we need to do? Has anything went wrong? Has anything new been deployed? Like these are all like really good questions to kind of look into and ask. But I always feel like a manual look at the SERP for some of those, ranking keywords to understand what's happened. Has the landscape completely changed? Do we have, new websites popping up? Or is it some of our previous competitors who are now outperforming us potentially?
Love that. And I'm curious now, this actually brings me to another question I had. Is like, okay, if you're going to analyze, like, let's say your competitors and what they're doing, like, so what are some tools that you're using to like catch this stuff? Because I mean, you mentioned manually that can go so far, but I mean, are you using any tools to kind of help you do these analyses?
Yeah, I mean, so if you're, whichever third-party rank tracking tool you use is always like a really good one because it kind of helps you keep an eye out on fluctuations that have happened to ranking. So I use SEO Monitor a lot, as well as SE Ranking. Like these are two that I tend to use heavily to kind of, look at like what changes might be potentially happening.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. So wait. So on like, is there any specific like tools are you using? Like, let's say like, would you run a screaming frog crawl on your competitors' websites or anything like that? Or kind of like some kind of like maybe steps that we can use or tools that you're actually using.
Yeah. So from a crawler perspective, I use both Screaming Frog and Sitebulb a lot. So Screaming Frog helps me on a ad hoc basis. So running crawls, post migration and so forth. And then Sidebulb really helps me scheduling like weekly or fortnightly crawls. And it's quite good because it does that comparison. And it's very helpful if you know that you have a lot of technical changes that are, being deployed or coming over time. My favorite tool will always be Google Search Console because Google Search Console is there and it's free and it has lots of data directly from Google. Like if it wasn't for some of the, competitor analysis things that are provided through third-party tools, I'd be perfectly happy just sticking to Google Search Console because it gives you your ranking data, it gives you clicks, it gives you impressions, it gives you a breakdown between, keywords and landing pages. So, and it gives you like tons of like the technical issues that might be happening. So that's always just something that, especially with maybe potentially like smaller businesses, they could potentially like forget about it a little bit.
Love that. And Anna says, women in tech SEO.
Oh, yay. Anna was just with us in Philadelphia last month. So
oh, nice. Love that. So how long was your Philadelphia conference? Was it just one day or a couple of days?
Yeah. So all of our conferences are one day. We're looking into trialing like a 2-day idea soon, but yeah, just lots of brainstorming around how that might look at the minute.
Love that. So I wanted to get into some more personal insights that you have here. I mean, I guess like while we're coming close to the end here, so I'm curious, how has your journey with women in tech SEO shaped your perspective on leadership and community building?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think to be honest, like I learned a lot about community building, and I learned a lot about patience and but also like being accepting of folks coming from a lot of different backgrounds, and it helped me like realize like the importance of diversification. It's not just enough to have a community for women, but it's also about making sure that this community is diverse and inclusive for women from all around the world. So that was like a huge learning for me for sure. But then I feel very inspired and empowered, like on a day-to-day basis, seeing all of our active members kind of helping and supporting one another. How many people sign up for the mentorship program every time we run a new cohort is just something that I think is very beautiful because it shows how many people want to give back and help and support one another. So yeah, definitely tons of learning, and just feel very, very grateful that I get to be surrounded by a lot of these brilliant women every day.
Love that. And so what advice would you actually give women to looking, to carve out that, some get into the tech space or tech SEO space?
Yeah, I mean, everyone is so welcome. I think, one of the rules that we have is there's no such thing as a stupid question. I think that's really, really important. Like a lot of people might think, I'm just starting out in this and I feel like I have a lot of, basic or simple questions. There is no such thing as that because, we've all been on that journey, and it might, a question that you're asking could actually help someone who wanted to ask it but was worried to ask it. So all questions are good questions, and make sure that you surround yourself by a good network. Find mentors, find people who inspire you and empower you. Reach out to them and let them know that you feel that way about them. And just, there's a lot of awesome folks in our industry who are willing to help one another. So don't feel deterred to, enter, the idea of a technical SEO industry because it might feel too technical. Like a lot of the learning that we do is on the job. So definitely bear that in mind.
Love that. And so, I mean, with right now, are there any upcoming projects that you have going on? Any other events that's coming? What's coming up for women in tech and SEO?
Yeah, I mean, our biggest conference is our London one. We're going for the 5th time in March. So that's going to be March 8th, International Women's Day, which is amazing. It's going to be our biggest yet. We're going to host up to 500 women in person in London for that. So we just announced our lineup agenda last week, and I think early bird ticket sales are even like almost sold out, which is very exciting. But yeah, doing tons of work on that for next year.
And how can people get some tickets if they're?
Well, yeah, womenintechseo.com. Okay. We've got all of our news is on there, how to join us, and womenintechseo.com/conference. All the tickets are on there and all the details and the agenda. So yeah, we'd love to have lots of new people like join us and come meet us all in person.
Love that. And so looking ahead, I mean, 5 years from now, where do you see like women in tech SEO being?
I mean, I would, the very honest answer is I would hope it would be redundant and not needed anymore, right? Like it would be amazing if the entire industry feels safe, judgment free, everyone feels included, and everything feels equal to the extent that we don't really need, safe spaces specifically for women. So that's like my ultimate like dream or goal. But I have no idea if that's going to be done in 5 years or longer. But if it's not done till then, like we're all still here, like helping and supporting one another.
Love that. And this is the last question I ask all my SEO professionals that come on here. For anyone that wants to get into SEO space, become an SEO professional, what would your advice be to them?
Yeah, I mean, start. If I had one tip, it would go on learningseo.io, which is an amazing website created by Aleda Solis. So it has everything from beginner information, all the way to advanced, and it's just everything on it is completely free of charge, like all the resources, all the courses, everything that's linked to it. So I definitely, I would advise people to check that out. But also, reach out to people within the SEO industry and ask them for help and support. Like everyone's really, really helpful, and kind of, just start looking into things and tinkering with stuff and reading some Google documentation and like understanding bits and pieces here and there.
Love that. And for this episode to feel complete for you, the stage is yours. Please, how can people get a hold of you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely reach out. You can learn more about Women in Tech SEO on womenintechseo.com. I'm on Twitter, Areej_AbuAli, and you can find me on LinkedIn as well, Areej AbuAli. If you need anything, feel free to reach out.
Love that. Love that. So everyone, let's give a round of applause.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Can you hold on for one quick second while I sign off here? Just one quick second.
Go for it.
All right, guys, that concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Please support the channel by liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell. And I will see you on Friday. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, because the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul-Andre De Vera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!